Traveling to Europe when you have a president that Europe respects is so much nicer than traveling to Europe when you have a president that the rest of the world despises. Trump is obviously huge in that right now. Like, nobody likes Trump outside of MAGA in the United States. I've traveled under every presidency since like the first Bush, the OG Bush. And I will say though that lately with like Trump, I was just in Paris and Lisbon in like the last like 2 months, month and a half, and everyone was very kind. They were like, when here's what you have to do. If somebody's like, where are you from? You say United States, I'm so sorry. Then they realize like you're a safe space. And then all of a sudden I actually was met with a lot of pity, kind of. Like, people were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, I know it's awful. Like, I think the thing is, as long as you're not like, yeah, America, we love our president, then like that is going to like be the huge difference. I remember I was in New Zealand when George W. Bush was president, and I was with like studying abroad, and some like the bouncer at this bar was like, oh, you're Americans, like what do you think of the president? And me and my friend were the only two like liberals there, and we're like, fuck him, he's a war criminal. And they're like, come on in. And the rest of the people were like, no, we love America. And they like didn't let them in the bar. That's like the worst I've ever seen of somebody treating an American badly because of the president. As long as you're just like open that you did not vote for him and you don't like it, and like I'm always like, I'm American, I'm so sorry, I didn't vote for this. And that makes it so much better.
The final report: MAGA supporters are now realizing that they are hated abroad. Nobody wants them to their countries, be it in Mexico, be it in Canada, be it in Africa. If you voted for Donald J. Trump, even going to China, and they know, and they see, and they ask you and answer, who are you supporting? And you say you are supporting Trump, just know it is a problem. Because right now, I'm going to play you videos of evidence that shows that MAGA supporters are not wanted abroad.
So I want to put my 2 pence in on the MAGA woman who went to Northern Ireland and then cried online because she didn't feel welcome. Apparently, locals in a bar clocked pretty quickly that she was a Trump supporter, and the giveaway was the most obvious line ever. She said, I don't want to talk about politics, and that's the tell every single time, and I'm going to explain why. For the people who didn't vote for this and never supported that sorry excuse of a man, the world feels pretty scary right now. We're all being forced to talk about politics, even people who were never particularly political before, because people can see the consequences and they can see exactly where the problem started. So when that American woman got pulled into the conversation at the bar and the locals had strong opinions on Trump and she made it clear that she was standing on the wrong side, yeah, they treated her differently. And honestly, I support them fully for that. I would have done the exact same thing. Because when people say, I don't want to talk about politics, it's usually not because they're apolitical. It's because they know exactly where they stand and they know that defending it outside their own echo chamber isn't going to go very well for them. The problem is, politics is not some dinner table debate anymore. It's wars, it's rights, it's economies, it's global alliances. People all over the world are paying the price for decisions made in Washington. So when you travel to another country and expect people to just politely ignore that, that's not how this works. Especially not in a place like Northern Ireland, where people understand better than most how politics shapes real life. You cannot vote for chaos at home and then expect a warm welcome abroad. The world is watching what your country is doing, and some of you are just as unwelcome as you feel.
Do Trump supporters and right-wing Americans think that it's a good thing that America and Americans are hated around the world right now? With Trump in a trade war, it's a war, a trade war with every single country except Russia. Don't punish Russia, but everybody else, especially here in Canada. Do they think that's a good thing for the country? That they are fucking hated, like all over the place. I was just talking to my mother, who just got back from France, and she'd been going to this restaurant and treated like shit. And then on the third time, she went up to the management and said, just letting you know, and she said in French, we're Canadians, not Americans. And they instantly changed and treated them so well. And hearing that, I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Well, yeah, of course you're going to treat these fucking arrogant Americans like that. Because to the rest of us, left or right, you're indistinguishable. When we hear Americans, we, for our own safety, have to assume, oh, you're a fucking mega lunatic. That's just the smart thing to do. It's the safe thing to do, is treat all Americans as a threat. It doesn't matter if you're a Portland burner, you know. If you're American, it's smart for us to assume, oh, you're a Bible thumping Christian nationalist, Trump hat wearing fucking lunatic. Okay. Americans, do they think this is a good thing? Do they think that this is going to be sustainable in the future? Trump seems to think that we're going it alone. You know, we're going to do everything alone. I mean, it's because he's so old. He's so old. He's fucked in the head. Clearly, his brain is mush. Down the line, like, these feelings aren't going away, right? I mean, it's not like, say you get someone in 3 years and, oh, the world's going to trust America again. No, we're still going to fucking hate your guts, okay? All across the world, because you brought in this stupid fucking idiot who has made it his point to trash every single country and their occupants. So, by nature, if the whole world is going to be insulted by one country, we're going to be like, well, yeah, fuck that country. You know, that's just the way it goes. Have they thought about this? Do they think this is a good thing? I think a lot of them think it's like a good thing to be like the most unpopular kid in school. Like that's ever fucking worked out. It's not going away anytime soon. So like Americans are going to have to get used to it. Do they think that it's a good thing that this is what's going on?
This is a PSA for the MAGAs. If you are planning to vacation abroad, especially to Europe, don't do it. Don't do it. They don't want you there. And if you do it, please wear your MAGA hat and take videos. I want to know what happens. Now, the reason that I'm telling you this is because I was on a phone call with my daughter who moved to Finland last week. I was talking to my daughter. She just finished brunch and she was walking outside with her husband. Clearly, by their English dialect, they are Americans, right? This man approached her husband asking if he was American and where he's from. Now, her husband said they're from Florida, which is clearly the wrong answer because everybody in the whole wide world knows how special, and not in a good way, Florida is. That man started yelling, and I heard him on the phone. He was like, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump, fuck Donald Trump. Finally, my daughter said, yeah, fuck him, fuck him. That was the way she got that man to shut up. Then her husband, who is Chilean, said, hey, I speak Spanish. I'm from Chile. Really, I'm originally from Chile. Dude, you should have said that in the beginning because didn't I tell you that if you're Latino, you need to use that card? Now, my daughter was able to calm down the guy because she agrees with his statement. And you got to understand that these Europeans are able to voice their opinion because what Donald Trump is doing is affecting the whole wide world. This war didn't need to happen. This was a choice, and he definitely chose wrong. So I'm definitely going to allow him to have his voice. So when I go over there to Finland in about a month, I'm hoping I can get people on camera to tell you exactly what I'm saying right now to you, that they don't want you over there and that they believe he's the worst president ever. Anyway. So I have been in London for the last 3 days and my kid is telling me I need to be present for our vacation. However, I am absolutely terrified of the news that's coming forth from the United States. I'm gonna tell you right now, the UK is not feeling us right now. There was one guy who was a MAGA head who came into the airport with that stupid ass hat and he was just looking at him and gawking him, pointing and laughing. You guys are absolutely miserable creatures that come over here and try to make other people miserable with your fucking hat and your cultish ideas. Trump is not for you, will never be for you, and the UK understands that. So at this point, I am really freaking out. I've been reading, I have been keeping up with some of the TikTok videos, and the news. In fact, British news, and it doesn't seem well. We are the laughing stock in the whole wide world. Absolutely insane, absolutely atrocious that this is actually happening, and I don't even know what to say. I think I'm gonna have to leave the country once a month because this is not good for my peace of mind. Anyway, bye.
No Trump supporters are moving to New Zealand. And if they are, they're going to find out very quickly that New Zealand is their quote unquote socialist nightmare that they're being scared by Fox News into believing that, oh, all democratic socialists are evil, when in New Zealand, we have universal health care, we have heavily subsidized childcare, we have 6 months paid maternity leave, we have a minimum wage that goes up every single year almost. And all of these things are democratic socialist, concepts, New Zealand is a social democracy, basically, and a lot of other countries are. And so when if any Trumpers come here, and believe me, they are here, they are benefiting from a system that they vilify, but they will take everything that they get with an open hand. And I've seen it. However, the majority of the people moving here are fleeing America and did not vote for this guy. But the majority of people who are coming to New Zealand or moving to Canada or the EU or to, Costa Rica or to Mexico, they're fleeing because in America, their lives and their livelihoods are not just like at risk, like in some amorphous way. They're like actually at risk, because the number one cause of death in children is gun violence in America, and the maternal mortality rate in America is 3 times higher in the US than it is in New Zealand. And now they are talking about this nationwide abortion ban if Todd Blanche becomes Attorney General. So what's going to happen is, if that goes into effect, women will be literally dying from miscarriages, which is what I talked about in my last video. And they're going to lose their lives simply because they wanted to be pregnant and they were miscarrying. And then they cannot get the mifepristone that will help clean out their uterus and prevent them from getting infections of their uterus and save their ability to have, save their fertility. And they might not be able to get dilation and curettages, which is what I got after my miscarriage, because I chose to. All of that choice will be gone. And so people who are moving to New Zealand are literally running for their lives. And when I say running for their lives, I also mean people who are Latino, who have been targeted by unidentified masked people and threatened in the grocery store. And no, they were not ICE. They were vigilantes. And I'm not making this up. In Texas, if you are a doctor in Texas and someone thinks that you assisted a woman with an abortion, maybe she was just miscarrying, did you know that you can turn that doctor in for a bounty to the government, to the state government? That's real. Look it up. Nobody who is coming to New Zealand, virtually nobody, I would say 1% of people who are Trumpers are coming to New Zealand. The rest are literally fleeing a system that is systematically putting their lives and their livelihoods and their children's lives at risk. And yes, I believe firmly that we need to preserve the way of life in New Zealand. And this is why I love New Zealand so much, frankly, because when you come here, it feels nothing like America. The minute it starts feeling too much like America is probably the minute I'm going to leave. Americans don't want a mini America here. We want something different, and that is why we come. We want to embrace what Aotearoa has to offer and what Aotearoa has to teach us. And I have been here for 13 years. I'm not saying I've been here as long as some Americans, but I've been here longer than many, and it has changed me for the better. And then I look over in America and I just go, it's just down the drain, man.
Now, those are the videos. And this is to tell you, Trump coming to power has made enemies with a lot of countries. And this enmity has caused problems to other people. For example, when he came to power, he started a war with Iran. Iran was just a peaceful country. And then out of nowhere, Trump started doing what he gotta do. Him and the Israelites, okay? He has called countries like Somalia shitty countries, like Haiti shitty countries. He has deported or signed executive orders to deport immigrants. Immigrants from Mexico, immigrants from Cuba, immigrants from Somalia, immigrants from Kenya. And this is creating enmity between him and others. So these supporters, or these people from other countries, from Europe countries, from African countries, from East or Middle East, they are saying you voted for Trump because of that he is doing this to us. So we don't love him, and we don't love anybody who is associating with DJT. And that's why we are saying, you have seen those videos, Trump supporters are being hated abroad so much, unless they turn a new leaf. You have had the videos and the examples, and it is to say Trump has no friends outside America. Trump has no friends outside the Democrats. Even his own MAGA people are starting to go against him. They are starting to betray him. They don't want him anymore because what he promised is not what he is delivering. And that is our final report today. Peace out.